In this video, we'll be going over Worksheet 1 for IRS Form 4562, Depreciation and Amortization. So this is the worksheet that you may need to complete if you're considering taking Section 179 depreciation on certain property. So let's highlight where we're talking about in the tax form itself. So this is IRS Form 4562, and if you elect to expense certain property under Section 179, then you will need to complete lines 1, 2, and 3 according to the worksheet amount in the instructions. So line 1 would be the maximum amount that you're able to expense. The line 2 is the total cost of Section 179 property placed into service during the tax year. And then line 3 is what's known as the threshold cost of Section 179 property before any reductions in limitation. So let's circle back to this form or this worksheet so we can walk through each of those items. So the top item, which is the maximum Section 179 limitation calculation, is fairly straightforward. It's the lesser of the total cost of Section 179 property to include qualified Section 179 real property that you placed into service during the tax year, or the maximum Section 179 deduction limitation for the tax year. For people completing their tax returns for 2023, that Section 179 limitation is $1,160,000. So in this scenario, we placed $1.5 million worth of property into service. We take the lesser of that or the deduction limitation, and then we put that amount on line 1. So that's the maximum amount that we would be able to expense in this situation. Line 2 basically takes that $1.5 million, which is the amount that we placed into service. So we would enter that line 1 amount in here on line 5 of the worksheet, but then we're also going to put that into line 2 because that was the total cost of property placed into service. Whether or not we are able to expense that extra portion, that is not germane to what we put into line 2. And then the base maximum threshold cost of the Section 179 property before reductions and limitations. So for 2023, that amount is $2,890,000, and you put that into line 3 right here. So in this case, you do have enough information to at least complete the next couple of lines. So line 4 is the difference between line 2 and line 3. Since that is 0, we'll put 0 there, and then we're going to subtract line 4 from line 1. So we get, so far we've arrived at this limitation. That's the dollar limitation for the tax year. So the maximum elected cost for Form 4562 is the smaller of either line 1 or line 4. So the smaller of this or the smaller of this, which in this case is the $1.160 million. Now the total amount that you enter on line 6 and 7 for this form cannot exceed this total limitation. So basically it circles back to the maximum Section 179 deduction. However, if you placed $1 million of property into service, then all of these values would kind of trickle down accordingly. And you would arrive at a different limitation. So let's go through the entire form or the entire worksheet. We're going to enter the amount from line 1 here, and on line 2 this would change, and then we would enter that into line 3, and then we would take the smaller of either line 1 or line 4, which in this case is the same. So this amount would be the limitation, and your lines 6 and 7 could not exceed this amount. So line 6 is specific property that you're going to state here with the description, the cost, the elected cost. Looking in the form instructions, basically there's not a whole lot of information here. It says enter the elected section 160. So do not include any listed property on line 6. We'll talk about that momentarily. So you would enter a brief description of the property that you elect to expense. It could be a roof, it could be office furniture. You would enter a cost, and then the elected cost would be the amount that you elect to expense. So line 7, and remember the combination of lines 6 and 7 cannot exceed what was stated at the bottom of this worksheet, which was $1 million. So line 7 is your total listed property. Now, to get to listed property, you would have to complete part 5. So basically all of this, and then we're going to circle back up after we've completed the line 29 and enter that amount here. So part 5, section A, which is the depreciation. Now, it says here listed property includes vehicles or automobiles, certain other vehicles, aircraft, and then property used for entertainment, recreation, or amusement. So you would complete all of this, any vehicles that you placed into service, any other aircraft or anything like that, you would complete all of this part 5. And this amount here then carries over to line 7, and as long as it's, less than, the line 6 and line 7 cannot be more than that first amount. So basically, we talked about the ability to take the dollar limitation, but realistically, because we only placed $1 million worth of property into service this year, the listed property should be a part of that. So the listed property, and then any property that was listed in item 6, the total amount should not exceed that $1 million threshold. So this worksheet serves a couple of different functions, but this is how you get started with your first couple of lines in part 1 of IRS Form 4562. So if you want more detail about how to complete the rest of the form, you can check out our article. Go to teachmepersonalfinance.com, type in IRS Form 4562, and you'll see the article there. You can also check out the YouTube video. We'll put links to both in the show notes. So if you like our articles, please subscribe to our newsletter. And if you like our YouTube videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you have any questions, comments, or if there's a topic that you would like to hear discussed in an upcoming video, please hit me up in the comments section. Thank you very much and have a great day.